Hello, I'm going to give you a very quick introduction to infogram, which is a really nice tool for creating interactive charts and graphs. It is more powerful than that. You can do other things on it as well, but for the time being I'm going to stick to making an interactive bar chart, which I think is a good expression of data journalism. So I'm just going to type it into Google, infogram, and it's that top result there. Now, I'm logged in already. You might have to log in with Twitter, Facebook, or Google, or you can just create a basic account on here. We don't want to pay for it. So there's a free account which doesn't allow for some of the functionality on Infogram, but is good for what we want to do. As you can see, this is where you start. These are the options you'll be given: infographic or report, chart or graph, or even a map. We're just going to build a simple chart or graph. I've prepared one already. You can see I've got a few down here which I've probably been using to demonstrate teaching, and I'm going to click on this one here. Now I've already got some data put into this, but when you first click on it there'll already be some data in there, so that's quite useful. I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So let's just go back, and if we click on chart or graph, this is what you get. Now we want to create a bar chart, generally speaking. I think you can create all sorts of different charts, and if I scroll down a little bit you can see that there's all manner of ways we can express this data. I think probably for what we want to do, generally bar charts are best. I think they're the easiest ones to understand. And what happens when you click on it, there's already some data in there. That's good because it's going to show us how to create the map, the graph rather. And you can see that there's some data about GDP for various countries, and there's some data from 10 years ago, and there's some data from, well, 10, 12 years ago, whatever it is, and there's some data from 2010 as well. This is a really good expression of data because we can compare between places or things down here, so we can see the difference between things. That's generally a good expression of data, but we can also compare how it changes across time. So if you remember back to my lecture, I said there's two ways generally that data can convey something important or interesting about a story: the change in time, so how things change over time, and the difference between things. This graph has both, so it's particularly interesting. Right, what we want to do if we want to edit this data, edit this graph, is just click on it, double click, and then we get this chart open. It looks like a spreadsheet. That's basically what it is. And this information here is powering what's over here. So I can change any of this. Let's take that to 10,000, for example. And you can see how it changes immediately. So once you kind of get your head around how it works, it should be pretty straightforward to do. We can see that we've got the places down here in this spreadsheet, and that's represented in exactly the same way down the side there, and the numbers across here relate to different years, and again we can see what that looks like there. I'm just going to come out of this and go back to one I prepared earlier, which is doing exactly the same thing really. I just edited the information. Oh, it hasn't actually saved, that's annoying. Let's just go back to it again. It's this one here. So I edited this information to be about some fictional figures about smoking in Greater Manchester. This is the sort of story which we would be interested in telling in data for our patch. And there are figures about smoking in Greater Manchester available. I'm not using the real ones, I'm just using this dummy data here. But you can see what I've done. I've pretended that that's how many people are smoking in Salford in 2000. And other bits of Greater Manchester, so we can compare between places. That's good. What we can also do, if we click on here, is we can compare how it changed over time. It's dummy data, but I would imagine that the figures would generally be going down. So again, if I double click, I can open this up, and I could add something else in. So I could say another bit of, I don't know, Warrington. Don't know if that's even in Greater Manchester really, but let's pretend it is. And let's say there used to be 4,000 people who were smokers there, and that's gone down to 2,500. And there we go. it appears there. So I get a live preview what it's going to look like. Really good expression of data there. What I can also do, if I just get rid of this for a second, is I can change what sort of chart it is, because the data is already there. We can just represent it in lots of different ways. I'm going to stay with this one for the time being. Sometimes if you get your axes wrong, you've got an axis across down the side from top to bottom, if you've got an axis across the top as well. Sometimes if people get them the wrong way around, they don't make sense. So your data conceivably might look like this, and you think, oh, hang on, that's not what I wanted. You've got to scroll through them, and you might decide that's not as good a way of demonstrating it. So toggling these rows and columns can quite often make it look a bit more how you might want it to look or expected it to look. You can also put values on, which can be quite useful. Let's say these numbers are quite similar and you can't really tell the difference between them. Hitting values is quite a good way of showing that. You can also put the values on the outside if you want. I wouldn't change anything else on here personally. So let's say I'm happy with this now, and this is what I want to have on my blog. I'd hit share. Now, embedding on free WordPress blogs doesn't work. You won't be able to embed it on your blog, as you found out the other day, I think. So what we're going to do is just link to it. So I'm going to copy that code down there. It says social and link. You've got all the embed codes here, but remember it won't work. So we just want that link. We're going to link to it from our blogs. I've got a dummy blog here. So let's say I'm going to write something like, oh, link to data or something like that. I'll copy that and I'll go onto my visual editor so I can find my link icon. Let's just copy that again. There's my little chain icon, which always represents a link, and I can just paste the URL in there and apply that. Let's preview it. We always want to preview work. I've already got my map in. That does embed. What sometimes happens is it takes a while to catch up, and sometimes you might have to refresh the preview to get it working. And there we go. There's my map, and look down here, there's the link to my data. If I open that, this is what the reader would see. And that's fine, that's absolutely fine. What we could also do is we could download this as an image or something like that and put it on our blogs if we want to, but you lose the interactivity. So I think it's better to link to it. So that's Infogram. It's a very quick whiz around it. You can put images in and things like that as well. You've got some controls down here. Look, add map, add text, add graphics, add media, so I can put a video in. I can put some graphics in there as well, and I can make that look a little bit snazzier. That's Infogram for the time being, and that's all I want you to do. So have a play around with that and see if you can get that working.